Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling. Imagine witnessing the final moments of a beloved star, the pain, the fear, and the truth behind his tragic end. This is Menglong's story, but what you're about to see is beyond anything you could have imagined. Welcome to Update X24H, where we uncover the truth behind the headlines. Today, we're revealing shocking footage that could change everything you thought you knew about the tragic death of Menglong. This disturbing footage, captured from fan Shiqi's phone, shows the final moments of Menglong. What you're about to witness will leave you questioning everything. Prepare yourself for a journey into darkness that reveals more than just the tragic death of a star. This is the story of betrayal, manipulation, and cruelty hidden from the world. The camera begins to shake slightly, its grainy frame flickering as if uncertain whether it should capture what is happening. Menglong stands at the center of a dimly lit room, his body trembling with unbearable tension, every muscle tightening in visible agony. The air feels heavy, as though the world itself has paused to watch his silent suffering. His breaths come in sharp, uneven bursts, each one a battle against pain too deep to name. He doesn't scream, not loudly, but his quiet gasps and fragmented whispers echo louder than any cry for help ever could. What is most haunting in these moments is not the physical suffering, but the stillness that surrounds it. Around him, shadows move, cold and detached. Every flicker of light across his face reveals the exhaustion of a man who has been fighting far too long, not just for his life, but for his dignity. His body twists, convulses uncontrollably, yet behind the trembling is a trace of resistance, an instinctive struggle to remain human amid the horror. His eyes, wide and glistening, are searching for something. Maybe mercy, maybe understanding, or perhaps the faint hope that someone will find this footage and finally see the truth. It is not the image of a celebrity or a public figure. It is the image of a human being stripped of protection, facing forces too cruel to comprehend. The convulsions rack through him like waves breaking on fragile glass, each one threatening to shatter what remains of his strength. His lips move silently, as if forming words he no longer has the strength to speak, and for a brief second, he looks directly into the camera, not as a performer, but as a soul reaching out. In that fleeting gaze lies everything the world failed to see. The fear of betrayal, the awareness of death drawing near, and the unspoken plea for truth. His suffering becomes something larger than pain. It becomes testimony. Even as his body collapses, his spirit does not surrender. That moment, captured in trembling pixels, is no longer just evidence of torment. It is the last fragile expression of a man refusing to vanish quietly into darkness. When investigators first examined the phone that contained the footage, they expected a tragic record of Menglong's final moments. What they uncovered instead was something infinitely darker. A network of intent, design, and human cruelty that had been meticulously woven long before that night. Beneath the surface of every file, every timestamp, lay the evidence of something systematic, something carefully planned. The phone was not just a vessel of memory. It was a silent witness to a crime crafted in cold precision. Inside its encrypted folders were traces of an invisible map, logs of used movements, audio fragments of conversations, messages that at first seemed meaningless but later revealed coordination among several people. His daily life had been charted like data in a study, every step documented, every meeting anticipated. The places he was led to were not random. Each one was isolated, dimly lit, almost impossible to trace. Rehearsal studios, private apartments, and unused buildings that became the stage for a nightmare he never volunteered to perform in. There was no chaos in what happened to him. There was choreography. Behind the apparent confusion, a pattern emerged. A timetable, a rotation of roles, and a hierarchy of cruelty. Those involved knew what they were doing, and each played their part with calculated precision. The phone's data revealed a strange kind of order, as if his suffering had been rehearsed and refined until it became ritual. The chilling part was not only the documentation of pain, but the cold intelligence that guided it. Someone had written the script, others had followed it, and you had been cast in the role of the victim who would never survive the final act. When the investigators scrolled through the files, they weren't just reading messages. They were uncovering blueprints of fear. Each file name, each deleted folder whispered of intent, a reminder that evil, when organized, becomes far more terrifying than chaos. And as the truth slowly emerged, it revealed the cruelest twist of all. Menglong had been surrounded not by friends or colleagues, but by actors in a tragedy of their own making. What was once a mystery about how he died transformed into a revelation about how long he had been betrayed, and how every detail of his agony had been carefully, deliberately planned. The deeper the investigation delved, the more it became clear that Menglong's tragedy was not the result of a single night, but the culmination of a long, calculated web of manipulation. His life had been slowly dismantled piece by piece, until he was left with no control over his own choices. Every encounter, every invitation, every carefully chosen word around him had been part of a silent conspiracy to isolate him. The perpetrators did not strike suddenly. They built a prison of trust around him, one so intricate that by the time he realized he was trapped, escape was no longer possible. What emerged from the recovered files was not chaos, but control. Messages revealed how those involved spoke of you as though he were an experiment, referring to his reactions, his physical limits, and his breaking points. They monitored his emotional state like scientists observing a subject under duress, adjusting their behavior to maintain his confusion and dependence. The cruelty was not loud or impulsive, it was clinical. They alternated between kindness and fear, offering him false comfort before tightening their psychological grip. He was surrounded by faces he thought he knew, each wearing the disguise of friendship, each concealing a role in his downfall. In the recordings, Yu's voice trembles with uncertainty. He questions himself, apologizes without reason, hesitates before speaking. The manipulation had already taken root, shaping his thoughts until he began to doubt his own perception of reality. This was not merely physical imprisonment, it was psychological warfare, a slow erosion of his willpower. The web they spun around him was made not of ropes or walls, but of deceit, dependency, and fear. And yet, through that darkness, traces of resistance flicker. In his private notes, Yu wrote of feeling watched but vowed to stay calm. He had begun to sense the pattern, to recognize that something was being orchestrated around him. It is this awareness, fragile but defiant, that transforms his story from one of mere suffering into one of endurance. The web of manipulation may have controlled his body, but it could not fully claim his spirit. Each revelation about what he endured exposes not only the depravity of those who sought to break him, but also the quiet courage of a man who refused to surrender his humanity, even as the world around him conspired to erase it. The most shocking discovery? The video wasn't the only evidence. Hidden files revealed detailed logs, experiments on Yu's physical and mental limits. Reactions to drugs were tracked with precise notes on how long it took for convulsions to appear, how intense they were, and even the exact words that. As the footage and evidence spread across the globe, public outrage reached a boiling point. People everywhere began asking, how could this happen? Who are these 17 individuals, and what did they have to gain from Yu's suffering? The global demand for justice is louder than ever. The question now is, will those responsible ever be held accountable? And will Yu's tragic story spark the change we need to prevent this from happening again? This is just the beginning. The truth must be uncovered. If you want to stay informed and be part of the fight for justice, hit the subscribe button and join us on this journey. Together, we can ensure that Menglong's story does not fade into silence. Thank you for watching Update X24H. Your voice matters, and together we can make a difference. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The truth is out there. Together we'll find it.